Hello and welcome to the news tonight. Glad you could join us this Saturday evening here on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. BJP Chief Amit Shah addresses party workers ahead of civic polls in the national capital, accuses the Aam Aadmi Party government of not fulfilling its promises to Delhi. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari delivers the 66th convocation address at Punjab University, underscores the need to defend universities as free spaces and as sources of renewal of liberal values. US President Donald Trump suffers a stunning political setback, fails to repeal Obamacare after Republican leaders pulled back the legislation. And European Union observes the 60th anniversary amid growing fears over the future of the Union. Leaders of 27 European Union countries arrive in Rome for celebrations. BJP chief Amit Shah has termed the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi as the most corrupt government. Addressing his party workers ahead of the MCD polls in the national capital, Shah also accused the Aam Aadmi Party of not fulfilling its promises. Here's a report.
Kickstarting his party's election campaign for the MCD polls in Delhi, BJP President Amit Shah launched a blistering attack on Aam Aadmi Party, which heads the state government in national capital.
जिस तरह से दिल्ली में केजरीवाल सरकार चली है, आप पार्टी की सरकार चली है, इतने अल्प समय में दिल्ली में कोई भी सरकार ने जितना भ्रष्टाचार नहीं किया, इतना भ्रष्टाचार आप पार्टी की सरकार ने किया है.
Shah also accused the state government of not fulfilling its promises made during the assembly polls.
मगर आपके 2.5 साल समाप्त हो गए हैं और आपने दिल्ली की सरकार जनता के सामने जो वादे किए थे, मैं आपका अकाउंट तो नहीं मांगता, क्योंकि हिसाब तो इससे मांगते हैं जो जिम्मेदार होता है. मगर मैं आपको याद दिलाना जरूर चाहता हूं, 500 स्कूल नए बनाने की आपने बात करी थी, एक भी स्कूल नहीं बना. 29,000 प्राध्यापकों को लेने की बात करी थी, कुछ नहीं हुआ. 20 नए डिग्री कॉलेज बनाने का वादा था, एक भी नींव नहीं रखी गई. 3 नए ITI बनाने थे, 5 नए पॉलिटेक्निक बनाने थे, कुछ नहीं हुआ. यूनिफाइड ट्रांसपोर्ट अथॉरिटी बनानी थी, कुछ नहीं हुआ. महिलाओं की सुरक्षा के लिए 3 पेज भरकर वादे किए थे, 3 लाइन भी नहीं करी आपने.
Exhorting his party workers, the BJP chief also termed these polls as good opportunity to strengthen the party base for the assembly polls in 2020. During the day-long workers' meeting at Ramlila Maidan in the national capital, Shah was accompanied by party MPs, senior leaders as well as some union ministers. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Saturday said that India's international borders will be sealed soon. He said this at the passing out parade of the Border Security Force at Tekanpur in Gwalior. Asserting that the sealing of borders would be done as soon as possible, he added that borders have become a breeding ground for infiltration and smuggling. Rajnath Singh had previously said that the centre wants to completely seal the Pakistan border by 2018 by employing a mix of physical barriers and technological tools such as surveillance. Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal has also called on the BSF to seal the Bangladesh border to stop illegal migrants from the neighbouring country from entering.
हम लोगों ने फैसला किया है कि जल्दी से जल्दी भारत और बांग्लादेश की सीमा को यह सील किया जाए. और मैं जानता हूं इस काम में भी कई मुश्किलें आ रही हैं. कहीं पर पहाड़ है, कहीं जंगल है, कहीं पर रिवराइन एरिया है. फिर भी हम लोगों ने फैसला किया है, भले ही हमको टेक्नोलॉजिकल सॉल्यूशंस का सहारा लेना पड़े, लेकिन हम इस सीमा को पूरी तरह से सील करेंगे. भारत और पाकिस्तान की सीमा को भी हम लोगों ने तय किया है कि जितनी जल्दी से जल्दी हो सके इस सीमा को भी हम सील कर सकते हैं. जहां जरूरत होगी टेक्नोलॉजिकल सॉल्यूशन का भी हम इस्तेमाल करेंगे.
Ahead of the GST rollout on the 1st of July, Central Board of Excise and Customs is being renamed to Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs after getting a legislative approval. The existing formations of the Central Excise and Service Tax under CBEC have been reorganized to implement and enforce the provisions of the new Goods and Services Tax Bill. The renamed board will be an important wing of the government in its fight against tax evasion and black money, adding up to 2% to India's GDP growth. It also aims at facilitating a smooth transition of taxpayers to the GST environment. The CBIC will be made up of 21 zones, 101 GST taxpayer services commissionerates, 15 sub-commissionerates, 768 divisions, 3,969 ranges, 49 audit commissionerates and 50 appeals commissionerates. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari today delivered the 66th convocation address at the Punjab University in Chandigarh. The Vice President said that recent incidents in our country have shown that there is much confusion about what a university should or should not be. Stating that the freedom of our universities has been challenged by narrow considerations, the Vice President underscored there is a need to defend them as free spaces and as sources of renewal of liberal values. The Vice President also reminded that the rights to dissent and agitation are ingrained in the fundamental rights under our Constitution that sets out a plural framework and refuses any scope to define the country in narrow sectarian, ideological or religious terms.
In a period of rampant distrust of matters intellectual, there is an imperative need to defend the universities as free spaces, as independent, critical repositories of knowledge, and as sources of renewal of liberal values that provide avenues of social mobility and equality to people.
And here are more updates from across the country and nationwide. Yogi Adityanath addressed his home constituency Gorakhpur for the first time after assuming the post of UP Chief Minister. Reiterating the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas pledge of the party, he said that his government will ensure that women can travel alone safely in Uttar Pradesh even at midnight. The Chief Minister also announced a 1 lakh rupee subsidy for people taking up the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. The Election Commission has transferred Chennai Police Commissioner S. George after a complaint by the DMK. The move comes ahead of the RK Nagar Assembly by-polls in Tamil Nadu. The election will be held on the 12th of April, more than 4 months after the death of the then Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha. Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh allocated portfolios to his cabinet ministers today, keeping home, transport, general administration, sericulture, tourism, IT and vigilance. Deputy Chief Minister Y. Joykumar Singh will look after finance, excise, taxation, science and technology, economics and statistics and civil aviation. L. Joyanta Kumar was given health, family welfare, law and legislative. The distribution of portfolios was preceded by the announcement of the names of 12 parliamentary secretaries. Hundreds of people cycled their way through the roads of national capital to spread awareness about energy conservation on the occasion of Earth Hour today. People from all walks of life participated in the event and covered 20 kilometers on bicycles. Lights at several iconic monuments and buildings will be switched off for an hour from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. today. Now a special report. Repeated intrusions by the Myanmar army is disrupting lives of villagers on the Indian border. But due to its friendly relations, India has been ignoring these incidents so far. Villagers say that the Myanmar army is destroying households and even commercial establishments that provide employment to them. Our correspondent Akhilesh Suman visited one such village on the India-Myanmar border where Indians are living under constant fear for their lives and livelihood.
This is all that's left of the sawmill in Howland 5 village in Manipur near the Indo-Myanmar border. The mill that used to employ many locals was destroyed by Myanmarese troops on 3rd March 2017, the day when the state had its first phase elections.
We have been attacked systematically and repeatedly since 2013, burning our huts and cultivation.
The village is located near Moray town. This pillar shows quite clearly that it's inside the Indian side of the border, but that doesn't keep it safe from Myanmar's intrusions. Locals blame the Indian administration for leaving them at the mercy of the Myanmar army, but so far neither the state government nor the centre has acted on their complaints.
फ्रेंडशिप होता है, उन लोग फ्रेंडशिप बोल के एक तरह हमारा एनकेशन करता है in the name of friendship. They are approaching me. तो in the name of friendship हम लड़ाई नहीं कर सकता क्योंकि हमारा authority नहीं है हम. I am the chief of the land only, but I am not the authority of to annexation this area. Because I'm not. Did you report to anyone about this construction? Yeah, I reported to DC and ADC to concerned departments, but they still.
The External Affairs Ministry has left it to the Indian security agencies to provide the answers.
First of all, I think some of the aspects that you mentioned are more appropriately dealt with agencies outside this ministry, security agencies, etc., and other agencies which are on the border. Insofar as our larger cooperation with Myanmar is concerned, we do keep engaged with them, and whenever such matters appear or are raised, we take it up with the concerned authorities in Myanmar, and we'll continue to pursue that. If we have any update on the matter, specific case that you have raised, I will let you know.
Locals say the March 3rd incident is by no means an isolated one. The Myanmar army has been attacking their settlements since 2013. The army men launched surprise raids, burned down their houses and threatened the residents to leave. A trend that residents say will continue as long as the Indian government does not launch a concerted protest against it. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
With a quick break here, up next we're getting international news. Stay with us.
From cowries to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicetas' daughter.
The Aditya L1, this is going to be the first Indian mission to observe the sun. Coming back to Astrosat, we have spent many years first developing the individual payloads. The first time we have developed X-ray optics in the country. First time we have developed UV optics in the country.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Sita Somasundaram, Program Director, SSPO at ISRO, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
Taking its name from the abundance of simul or red silk cotton trees that bloom vividly here. The Simlipal National Park is home to 3 of India's biggest animal species: tiger, Asiatic elephant and gaur. Spread over a sprawling area of 2,750 square kilometers, set on a wide expanse of sal forest, This park is nestled in the very center of Mayurbhanj in Odisha. It is one of the most breathtaking nature reserves in India, with forests, grassy meadows and some beautiful waterfalls like Joranda and Badehipani. It is also home to an astounding 1,078 species of plants, including 94 species of orchids.
Welcome back. Let's get you some international news now, starting with the U.S., where President Donald Trump suffered a stunning political setback on Friday in a Congress controlled by his own party. This was after Republican leaders pulled back the legislation to repeal Obamacare. That was a major 2016 election campaign promise, in fact, of the president and his allies. Republican leaders had planned a vote on the measure after Trump cut off negotiations with Republicans late on Thursday night. He issued an ultimatum to vote on Friday. However, Republican moderates as well as the most conservative lawmakers objected to the legislation. The White House and House leaders were unable to come up with a plan that satisfied both. Accepting his defeat, U.S. President Donald Trump said that he was very, very close to getting enough support in the House of Representatives and that now he will move probably onto tax reforms. Speaking at the Oval Office, Donald Trump also said that the onus is now on Democratic leaders to work with him on a way to fix the health care law. However, House of Representatives Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi credited Friday as a great day for the United States.
We were very close. It was a very, very tight margin. We had no Democrat support. We had no votes from the Democrats. They weren't going to give us a single vote, so it's a very difficult thing to do. Just remember, this is not our bill, this is their bill. Now, when they all become civilized and get together and try and work out a great health care bill for the people of this country, we're open to it. We're totally open to it.
Today is a great day for our country. It's a victory. What happened on the floor is a victory for the American people, for our seniors, for people with disabilities, for our children, for our veterans.
And staying with the U.S., two top senators urged the Trump administration to push for the sale of F-16 fighter jets to India to counter security threats and balance China's growing military power in the Pacific. India has launched an effort to expand its combat aircraft fleet, and the competition has reportedly narrowed down to Lockheed's F-16 and Saab's Gripen. Making a strong case for the sale of F-16s to India, Senators Mark Warner from Virginia and John Cornyn from Texas said that this would deepen the Indo-US strategic defense relationship and cement cooperation between the two countries for decades to come. In a joint letter to the U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, the two senators wrote, and I quote, "Given the strategic significance of India selecting a U.S. aircraft as the mainstay for its future air force and potential for a decision this year, we ask that the administration make the fighter acquisition a priority during initial bilateral discussions." Leaders of 27 European Union countries, excluding the United Kingdom, arrived in Rome on Saturday to attend a ceremony to mark the EU's 60th birthday. Prime ministers and presidents gathered at the Campidoglio Palace to mark the 1957 founding Treaty of Rome. However, the celebrations have been affected by a string of crises, including prolonged economic turmoil, an influx of migrants, and Britain's decision to leave the bloc, the last one, in fact, raising fears of the future of the Union itself.
It was the world's most complex democratic experiment that took shape under the shadow of the world's greatest war. Starting with just 6 members to today's 28 and soon to be 27 members, it has been a roller coaster ride for the European Union. Through years of divisions, Europe is now far more united and richer.
We hope to see a Europe where men of every country will think as much of being a European as of belonging to their native land. We hope that wherever they go in the European continent, they will truly feel, here I am at home. I'm a citizen of this country too, The men are my brothers and friends. Let us meet together. Let us work together. Let us do our utmost, all that is in us, for the good of all.
It all began in 1957 when the original 6 nations of Germany, France, Italy, Netherlands, Belgium and Luxembourg refashioned their coal and steel community into a customs union, setting the base for a common market based on free movement of capital and goods. This was done via 2 treaties of Rome to establish the European Economic Community and the European Atomic Energy Community.
Plus de 20 ans, le champion d'une Europe unie, la France a toujours eu pour objet essentiel de servir la paix. L'Europe n'a pas été faite, nous avons eu la guerre. L'Europe ne se fera pas d'un coup, ni dans une construction d'ensemble. Elle se fera par des réalisations concrètes, créant d'abord une solidarité de fait.
Much of the next decade saw face-off between the EEC and other European countries. But in 1973, 3 new members joined, the United Kingdom, Ireland and Denmark, even as a very Norway stayed away. 6 years later, Simone Weil, an Auschwitz survivor, became the first female leader of the first elected European Parliament, at the same time that Margaret Thatcher took over as UK Prime Minister. With the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, the EU single market was born and the concept of the single currency, the euro, also took shape. The EU has suffered several setbacks since. Set up as a body to ensure peace, it watched helplessly as Yugoslavia fell apart. The last decade of the 20th century was spent in brokering peace, with the US finally having to step in before the EU regained a bit of control around 2001 as the conflict petered out. In 2004, 8 former Soviet states as well as Cyprus and Malta joined the club's ranks, making it the first time more than half of European countries are members of the Union. A year later, the European Constitution was drafted with great fanfare. But voters in France and the Netherlands rejected it. The EU emerged by crafting the Lisbon Treaty, which is again rejected, this time by the Irish. The global financial crisis of 2008 hit the EU also very hard. Banks were closing down, the Union's single market was at risk, unemployment soared, growth plummeted and several countries had to survive on EU-funded bailouts. Since 2010, Europe has been undergoing a period of austerity. It has been ruthless in reprimanding countries that have broken the EU's budget rules and need a bailout, especially Greece. As the bloc turns 60, celebrations have been affected by a string of crises, including prolonged economic turmoil, an influx of migrants, and Britain's decision to leave the bloc. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's take you through some more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. At least 3 people were injured after gunmen opened fire outside a metro station in the city of Lille in northern France. Armed police rushed to the scene and sealed off the streets. According to reports, the shots were fired at Jacques Février Square. The motive behind the shooting is not known yet, and the shooter is reported to be still at loose. At least 16 people were killed in overnight airstrikes on a prison in the rebel-held city of Idlib in northwest Syria. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, the dead included prisoners and prison guards. The strikes were believed to have been carried out by Russian warplanes. Myanmar has rejected the UN Rights Council's decision to investigate allegations that security officers have murdered and raped Rohingya Muslim women, saying that the probe would only inflame the conflict. The Geneva-based body agreed on Friday to urgently dispatch a fact-finding mission to investigate the allegations. At least 9 people were killed and 2 others sustained injuries after an operation platform collapsed at a power plant in South China's Guangdong province. According to Xinhua News Agency, the accident took place at No. 7 thermal power plant in the provincial capital this morning. Las Vegas's iconic Bellagio hotel was plunged into chaos following reports of gunshots which forced tourists to flee the venue in panic. People were forced to hide under tables. Police have called it an attempted armed raid on a Rolex store inside the complex, and one man has been arrested so far. The investigation is still on. And finally, let's get you some cricket action. And Kuldeep Yadav took 4 wickets on his Test debut, restricting Australia to 300 in their first innings on day 1 of the 4th Test match in Dharamshala. The 22-year-old finished with figures of 4 for 68, while Umesh Yadav took 2 wickets. Ravichandran Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja and Bhuvneshwar Kumar took 1 each. For the Aussies, Steve Smith was the best batsman as he slammed his 20th Test 100. David Warner and Matthew Wade also contributed with half-centuries. In reply, India had still not made a single run at stumps after playing just 1 over. And that's what we have here on the news tonight from the entire team here. Good night. We'll see you on Monday.